sit at the ministry and make payments. A request is always sent from the ministry, one ministry, to Ministry of Finance to effect payment. So speak like that. I mean, you know the drill. You know what is that. So Ministry of Finance on its own will not just get up and make payment without your knowledge. You know.
Respectful Honorable Chair, I take clue from, I thought I wasn't giving the business process of the ministry. That's what I said, the Ministry of Finance effective. Honorable Chair, what happened to this transaction was an invoice was submitted to the Ministry of Energy. The Ministry of Energy did the due diligence, vetted the invoices, and after being satisfied with this, same was forwarded to Ministry of Finance for payment or for funds to be raised for payment to be done on behalf of the ministry. Yes, payment was effected to these suppliers. But after the payment was effected to suppliers, we are not having the records so far as the payment is concerned. So we went to the energy desk at the Ministry of Finance, and they provided us with all these payments that has been done on behalf of the ministry. So we show it to the auditors. Auditors will also confirm, verify that, yes, this payment has been done on behalf of the ministry. So we all agree that, yes, this payment has already been.
Okay, Director, you submitted these three. No, but you submitted 3.217 billion to the Ministry of Finance to be paid on your behalf. They came back to you later date and on a later date to ask you to bring your claims, outstanding arrears, and the BT and the rest of it. And you didn't think it was important for you to go back to Minister of Finance to do reconciliation of all the items you've sent to them before sending them any new list.
Honorable Chair, the briefing that we had, I want to share with you, is that when the payment was made by Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Energy there was no notification to the Ministry of Energy. So the Ministry of Energy still held that as an accrued in our accounts. So I think that going forward, I think, as you said, that Minister, there should have been...
Minister, respect.
Respectfully, please let me land.
Minister, with respect, let us be cautious how we go about some of these things. And let us also make the technical people appreciate and understand the process of their work. He talked about business process. That was why he was using to answer the question. No problem. But the point is this. You sent a request for payment to the Ministry of Finance. You don't know the status of that payment, whether it's been done or not. No problem. You are being asked again to bring your outstanding liabilities. You did not find that necessary to go for a status report of the initial request that you sent to them, and you still compiled again, assuming, without admitting, that the Ministry of Finance ought to have informed you and they did not. But you did not find that necessary. That your payables, you would want to go and find out whether your payables that you sent have been relinquished or been paid. But you still send that ahead. And you are using the position of the Ministry of Finance not coming back to you as a justification for your inclusion of this. I think that is not right. You see, we must be proactive. Very proactive in some of these things. We do not only sit on our desk waiting for reports to be brought to us. We must also inquire because, you are sending this again for payment, whereas you've not even asked them for the status of the one that you sent, and you are sending that same again. So, Minister, with respect, let the technical people understand some of these things. Otherwise, they will sit on the table again whilst you are there, waiting for the Ministry of Finance to get to them, and they will be duplicating the reports again. And that will go against the state. And that will be going against us. Because all of these inclusions that have been rejected, that they so claim that they found, were only confirmatory rejection by the auditors, when the auditors showed to them. If we do not let the process run and let them appreciate what they ought to be doing, we'll be faced with this again in 2029.
Honorable Chair, I agree with you on the act of, on the part of the proactiveness. I think that whatever was submitted, there should have been the follow-up. I've only given a basis that wasn't done. The proactiveness part of it was not done. And they also went ahead. But because they also didn't receive the notification. But I think going forward, there should be, as you said, there should be a regular reconciliation with the Ministry of Finance, even in our reporting. And then also Ministry of Finance, sometimes where an agency or MDA has submitted, or ministry has submitted a bill to you, when payments are made, the respective ministry is also supposed to have a report, or even when they a letter and they respond, a copy is sent back to the ministry. But I think from the brief that was given to us, they didn't receive, and that is what I'm bringing to your attention.
So, Minister, I think there's a structural challenge. So you submit your invoices to the Ministry of Finance. But when payments are being processed, when payments are made, you do not get receipts of these payments. Is that confirmation of that? Is that the practice? Is that what you are talking about?
In this case, that is what they report. But currently,
there's a schedule officer at the Ministry of Finance responsible for your ministry, and I think he's seated here. I want to find out. A rep from Ministry of Finance, Mr. Siblu. No. Is he not? Is he the current Director of Finance?
He's the current Director of Finance.
Oh, you are the current Director of Finance. Yes. I thought you worked at the Ministry of Finance. So you are the current Director of Finance. Yeah, I think I'm having a bit of challenge. Auditors, are you able to confirm that in all your works, you get, is it the case that Ministry of Finance does payment and do not send receipt back to the agencies and the ministries confirming?
Respectfully, when release letters are done from Ministry of Finance to controller asking for payments, the ministries involved are in the copy. Yes.
Honorable Chair, I would want the directors of finance to respond to this because they receive that regularly. So.
No. Respectfully, Honorable Chair, I 100% agree with you.
So let's not paint a picture of Ministry of Finance paying things on your blind side. I was at the Ministry of Finance for 8 good years. And I know that when release letters are done, the ministries concerned in the payment are usually copied. And even before the letters get to controller, these ministries already have copies of those letters. So we cannot sit here and pretend that Ministry of Finance pays on the blind side of MDAs when they send requests. No.
Respectfully, Honorable Chair, that is not the position of the Ministry of Energy. But so far as this transaction is concerned, like the China Water, for instance, payment, for instance, is a direct payment. But when a release letter is given to controller, the ministry is copied to be informed. We've instructed Controller Accountant General to do this payment on your behalf. But when the payment is done, whether or not the ministry is informed, that is no. We also have to go to the shadow desk or the officer at Controller Accountant General to get that information in preparation of our financial report.
Okay, but, all right,
Honorable Adams. Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson. Yes, I just wanted to add some clarity to this. Usually, apart from the Ministry of Finance copying the ministry for a release letter, usually the ministry itself, they own that expenditure. They would have to go onto the gift mix to initiate the expenditure before even Controller Accountant General does the payment on their behalf. And as and when the payment is also done, the ministry is notified on the gift mix system.
He is a former staff of Controller Accountant General. So he's also speaking from experience.
So the ministry is notified on the system that so expenditure has been, a transfer has been sent to the bank, or an instruction has been sent to Bank of Ghana to pay this. And the ministry will have to go onto the system to do that payment on the gift miss. They will have to do the payment on the system.
Respectfully, Honorable Chair, as indicated by the Honorable Member, I know he has worked at the Chief Cashier's office before. Honorable Chair, that is not always the case. That is not always the case. In respect of the China Water, for instance, the ministry only get to know that payment has been done when you go to controller the shadow decks before it comes to our notice, Honorable Chair.
Okay, so, Director, this is good for you. I'm sure when you go back to your desk and you're working for Ghana, you know how to do your things. Let's move to...
No, please, I'm coming. When was this payment made? The money to China Water International and Electric Corporation. When was the payment made?
Honorable Chair, I don't have the records of it.
You are coming to respond to issues pertaining to these payments. You should have the records.
All the records are the Honorable Chair. All the records are the documentary
Current
records.
Director of Finance, are you able to confirm when these payments were made?
From the records, what we saw was that it was made way back. It was made in bits, not in whole. Yes, we found some to be around 2016 and thereabout. It wasn't, yes.
Oh, sir, these are contracts from 2020 to 2024. So if you say 2016,
even much earlier.
10. Respectfully, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, in respect of China Water, their contract started from 2014, but it was in phases. So the total contract that has been awarded to China Water since the inception of that project, that amounts to the figure that is here. So far as this payment is concerned, it's not only one contract that amounts to this figure. It's all the contract that has been given to, or that was given to China Water since the inception of that project up to now, that amounts to this figure.
Madam Chair, that even raises more concern. So it means payment would have been made between the year 2015 till now. If we are talking about the contract, putting them together from 2014, that would amount to the total of about 2 billion, 2.9 billion, if I'm right. And a payment of almost about 2.3 billion had been done, which was not done at a go. So you could not verify at any point in time part of this payment to deduct from the balances that you were taking.
Respected Honorable Chair, the total amount that was given to the auditors was the total commitment. It wasn't total outstanding claim. It was total commitment. So when they came for the validation, and then we let them know that, okay, then out of this commitment, this amount has been paid to the suppliers.
And that is the point I'm raising. You are sending total commitment, part of which execution had been done, and payment certificates have been raised with the thinking that it would have been paid. Now they will move from even commitment to claims. So you take the claims out of the commitment, regardless of what, even if you are putting them together as commitment and execution has been done, you obviously know payment would have been made. So our commitment exposure would have been reduced by the payment that would have been done over the period. So you will not still take those ones, or even if you are taking the total commitment, you ought to take part of that payment request that you've also made, confirmed to have been made, out of it. Because once you send the total commitment to the auditors, all that they know is our total exposure as to that amount.
Honorable Chair, we take a clue from Honorable Member's submission. We will comply going forward.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. I think the Director of Finance who presided over this, we are not talking about amounts that dated back to 2016, etc. We are talking about payments that you presided over between 2020 and 2024. And specific mention is being made of these huge sums. And let me make that clear to you again. 2.94 million to one entity, China Water, as you've mentioned. Then another one, 361 million to Mustec, and 161 million to Luton Engineering. Clearly, these payments were made under your watch. Okay? But what we're discussing is that payment has been made already, and claims that you submitted included them. Now, my colleague who has the experience from the Controller and Accountant General has made it clear to you that these are initiated by your ministry before the Ministry of Finance pays. Would you agree that something has gone wrong under your watch for which you have failed the state? And if you have, can you tell us what remedies you've done to ensure that these things do not occur as we move forward? I think we need to establish that clearly. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Respected Honorable Chair, in respect of the China Water, the total amount that is there is captured, and the Mustec, these are the total commitment, the contract sum. The Mustec, for instance, the contract sum of 361. But as at the time the auditors came, with our document shows that an amount of 358 has already been paid. And that one, we made the documents and the evidence available to the auditors. The auditors said they can confirm. In respect of the China Water, to the same thing. Luton, the same thing. So the total commitment amount was the figure that was picked by the auditor. And we made available to them the payment that has already been made on the ministry's behalf. And they confirmed those payments that has already been made on behalf of the ministry.
Are you therefore saying that these amounts totaling 3.2 billion deemed to have been made already, payment having been made already, was not duplicated, or payment was not made more than once? Is that what you're confirming to the committee?
That is so.
Now, my other question, which has to do with whether the systems that you presided over, you ensured that due diligence was done, whether the systems are corrected now such that they will not reoccur.
Respected Honorable Chair, I can assure this committee, as at the time I was leaving the place, and I strongly believe that still is the same thing, because in preparation towards coming here, we met and we tested the controls and everything is working perfectly. Honorable Chair.
Minister, my colleague mentioned 2 companies that were cited in the 2024 report. These same 2 companies were cited in the 2016 reports. That is why I think we should do more than what we are just sitting around the table doing. These same 2 companies that he mentioned were also cited for similar infractions in the 2016 reports. That is why I say it is structural, and we need to address it from the roots.
Honorable Chair, I agree with you.
With respect, Madam Chair, Director of Finance, what was the instruction for you to bring? Was it the total liabilities outstanding or total contracts awarded?
Respectively, it was total liability And within the format that they gave to the various ministry, there was a column for commitment and column for claim and column for outstanding. And we fully complied as instructed by the Ministry of Finance. Honorable Chair.
So are we to take it that you sent the commitment, then you sent the total payment out of those commitments, and still the auditors could not deduct or subtract the payment out of the commitment, but brought the entirety as rejected?
Respectfully, Honorable Chair, as I indicated earlier on, according to the auditors, they were given the data to work with. And whether a payment has been paid already, which needs to be rejected or not, they have to report back to the people who engage them, which is the Ministry of Finance. So they have to report for them to know that, okay, then you gave us this data, but upon our validation, this X amount has been rejected, this X amount has been validated for payment. That's how come this report is here for this honorable committee to discuss.
Yeah, continue. Okay. Finance Director, let's move to the next one, page 22. It has to do with contractors and suppliers confirming less than the amount you submitted to the Ministry of Finance. Let me explain. You submitted 13 commitments and 5 claims with the contract numbers and the rest of it. But when the auditors contacted those contractors involved, the figure they gave were less than, or the figures were less than the figures you submitted to Ministry of Finance, to the tune of 1.396 billion Ghana cedis. How did this one happen?
Respected Honorable Chair, the Ministry of Finance requested for outstanding liabilities as at 31st of December 2024, which same was given to the ministry. But after the December 2024, there was transaction that happened afterwards. So when the auditors came, we notified them, okay then, this information was sent as at 31st of December, but after 31st, this payment or this transaction have happened. So that's how come that the auditors, the suppliers confirm less amount than the information or the data that the Ministry of Finance came with.
Finance Director, I'm trying not to ask you so many questions, but the way you're answering the question, it's become a problem. Ministry of Finance asked you to bring something. On the day that you were sending the report, you knew that some payment have been made. Why do you have to include it?
Honorable Chair, that's an excellent question, but we only work on instruction. The instruction from Ministry of Finance, the letter from Ministry of Finance, total liabilities as at 31st of December 2024.
Payment made sale liability. Payment made sale liability. Or what?
Honorable Chair, the information that was requested by Ministry of Finance was as at 31st of December 2024. But these transactions happened after the 31st of December 2024. And we couldn't have included them in the information that was requested.
And I understand you. I know you're a professional, so you're just complying with what Ministry of Finance asked you to do. But as a professional, if on this date I had made another payment, don't you think that was very instructive and necessary to have added a column to be able to explain to Ministry of Finance that, okay, this is the total destiny, but on this date, after 31st of December 2024, this is what you've done?
Honorable Chair, that is so. But as I indicated earlier on, the letter came with a format that we need to comply. And within the content of the letter, there was nowhere we can exercise
Ministry of
discretion.
Finance is not far from you. Ministry of Finance is in Ghana, and your ministry is in Ghana as well. So why are you talking as if Ministry of Finance is located elsewhere, outside Ghana, and therefore we couldn't contact them? It was simple work in there. You could have worked in there to discuss with them. We want to see our liability. After 31st of December 2024, we've made some payment. Why must we include that one in the liability?
Respectfully, Honorable Chair, I think in future, maybe I will contact the Ministry of Finance for direction. So when such an incident happens, Honorable Chair.
Master, we're not talking about future. If your kid brings his school fees, and you've made payment after he or she brings the school fees to you, and you're going to pay, and you went to the school, and they tell you that, oh, the school fee is 1,000 Ghana, and you know very well that you've paid, say, 100 cedis. Are you still going to pay the 1,000? Because it's coming from your pocket, are you going to pay all the 1,000? You obviously you're going to pay 900, not 1,000. So why are you saying that in future, when, you see, as minister was attempting to, if you like, support you or help you solve the problem, we are here not to pick on you or pick on anybody. The bottom line is that we want to do the right thing so that these problems will not be repeated in future. That's why we are here. So please, just open up. Let's do what we have to do so that when we leave here, after 2028, we'll not come and sit here and review the same or similar report. That is what we want to do, my brother. Please.
We're noted, Honorable Chair, please.
I have one follow-up. When you look at page 22 of the report, it says that clearly you don't keep proper records because the amount you had as liabilities for suppliers and contractors apparently was overestimated or overstated. The auditors are saying that contractors and suppliers confirmed 1.396 billion less than what you had in your books. Contractors and the suppliers to whom you owe confirmed 1.396 billion less than what you had in your books. So, Minister, this is the reason why I say it is structural and we should address it from the roots. The contractors are saying, you don't owe me that much. And to think that it's been overestimated by 1.396 billion Ghana cedis. Was that also inadvertent? Was that a mere error? Please, can you give us some explanation?
Respectful Honorable Chair, in respect of this issue, it wasn't an error. As I indicated earlier on, the information requested by Ministry of Finance was as at 31st of December 2024. And these transactions happened after 2024 December. So when the auditors came, we made available to them the BTAs and the payment and all the necessary documentary evidence for them to know that, okay then, even though we submitted this information, but after these are post-event, so far as the data submitted was concerned.
No, they are saying that they wrote to the contractors and suppliers directly, and they confirmed this. Auditors, respectfully, can you help me? By saying that contractors, suppliers confirmed 1.396 billion.
At 31 December 2024. And then they responded same with what was owed to them. So that was the position.
So I think they've made it very, very clear. Let's know why it was overestimated by 1.396 billion, because they said their request was for owings to 31st December 2024. And for 31st December 2024, you had way above what the suppliers confirmed. So tell us, what happened?
Respectfully, Honorable Chair, in respect of the suppliers, payment, they have outstanding commitment with the ministry, a certain amount, and payment was done after 31st of December 2024. That's how come they confirm less amount than what was captured in the report as at the 2024 December. Honorable Chair.
Unless you did not hear what the auditors said. They said they asked them for debts to 31st December 2024. That's what they repeated to us right now.
Respectfully, Honorable Chair, the letters that was sent to the suppliers and the contractors was for them to confirm whether or not the ministry owes them the amount as captured in the report submitted to Ministry of Finance. And the report submitted to Ministry of Finance was as at 31st of December. So the suppliers also confirm the amount that has already been paid to them, remaining the balance. That's how come there is a difference, Honorable.
So that if you have made payment to the suppliers, you, the ministry, are not able to clearly determine how much you have made. It takes the suppliers, it should take the suppliers to confirm to us how much we have paid them to reduce their indebtedness in our books.
Honorable Chair, that is not so. The suppliers only confirm the outstanding debt as at the time they were responding to the auditor's letter. And the auditor's letter was sent somewhere April, May, June there, if my memory serves me right. Which by that time, those payments has already been made to the suppliers.
So it's your word against the auditors. The auditors are saying they sent a letter asking that they give Owens outstanding amounts to the tune of to 31st December 2024. And you are saying that no, and that it reflected January to May payments, and that's how come there was a reduction of, or an overstatement in your books by 1.396 billion. Is that what you are saying?
That is so. And Honorable Chair, if I remember, the content of the auditor's letter was we are validating the claims of the Ministry of Finance, of Energy. Kindly confirm whether or not the ministry owes you this amount. And they make reference to the data that was given to them by Ministry of Finance. So when the suppliers are responding, they respond based on the outstanding claim as at the time they were responding.
Without reference to the dates the auditors just admitted they put in the letter.
Respectfully, Honorable Chair, so far as I'm concerned, that one, I don't know, but what I know is they responded based on.
You can't say so far as you are concerned, you don't know. A whole institution says, I sent a letter out stating ABCD. Make sure you report based on 31st December 2024. And then you are saying that that is not the case. But then, you cannot also what? Confirm.
Respectfully, Honorable Chair, as I said, the content of the auditor's letter to the suppliers, the auditors made reference to the data given to them by Ministry of Finance for the suppliers to confirm whether or not the ministry owes them that amount. And the suppliers also confirmed by stating the amount that we owes them as at the time they were responding to the letters. So definitely there will be difference because payment has been made from the day the report was submitted to Ministry of Finance and same was given to the auditors and the time they sent the letter out to the suppliers to confirm.
So you're telling us that from January to May, as you said, you had paid 1.396 billion.
That is the Honorable Chair, and the records are there. We gave it to the auditors, they've confirmed all those payments and everything.
So, auditors, with this infraction stated here and what the finance director is saying, how do we reconcile, please?
Well, I would try to touch, Honorable Chair, I would try to touch on our process. So we send a blank confirmation to the suppliers. For those who did not respond in compliance with what was provided to us by MOF, we gave them a second chance by sharing these are other details. If you do have information in relation to that, do share. Now, giving them a cutoff period in mind. So for all those who responded that at that said date they were not owed, we actually rejected those based on that. So in terms of the subsequent payment, I can't speak to that. I don't think the team received that evidence for this payment.
As at the time that you were writing this report, putting this report together, there was an overstatement by the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition to the tune of 1.396 billion Ghana cedis to contractors and suppliers.
Correct.
Minister.
Honorable Chair, so the Director of Finance would respond.
Honorable Chair, please, can I get a question again, please? Honorable Chair.
You just heard the auditors confirm that They don't know about what you are talking about, the payments you claim. But as at the time they were working on this report, putting the report together, your balances for contractors and suppliers had been overstated by 1.396 billion Ghana cedis. And then you are saying that the 1.39 billion Ghana cedis was paid from January to May.
That is so, Honorable Chair. The evidence is there, the BTAs, the bank statement, and all the other necessary documents are there. If, at the direction of the Honorable Chair, we can make it available to the auditors for them to confirm, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair,
Gladly.
if respectfully, if the finance director says so, I would plead that he makes the records available. I believe you set up to about 3, so he should call his team to gather it. I would wish they bring it today. Thank you.
Well, my issue is the overstatement. That is where I'm coming from.
So that's what I'm saying. With the defense is coming up with, if he has proof of payment, because I've seen the next page, payment up to May here is even less than 400 million. So if he has the report to actually support his claim that the payment from January to May was up to about 1.39 billion, then he should be able to submit it.
You know where the auditors are coming from? This is us at 31st December 2024. So anything, after that, should not form part of this audit. That is what they are saying.
So that one, Honorable Chair, from the response he's given, I also deduce that the suppliers that they wrote to them, obviously maybe the letters went to them after December. So if it was up to, let's say it was submitted to them in March, some will report as at March what is being owed them, even though the report or the request stated that they should do it up to 31st December. Some may actually just report that.
So
and that is what I want to...
You are saying that the problem can also be from the suppliers.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That is what you are trying to explain.
No, so,
away. Honorable
Chair, that is why I stated that it should be able to provide that report to support that claim. But that's what I understand. So I'm only expressing what I understand from what he said.
Continue. Okay, so we wait for Madam Chair's direction on when to bring that report.
Said it's available, so they can bring it.
Okay.
Today.
So can we now move to the next one, which is payment of 393,121 million made to suppliers and contractors after December 2024. And you know, the previous government left office on the 7th of, or 6th of January 2025. But if we look at the payment, on the 3rd, I'm seeing one that was made on the 8th of January. If I check my records, Honorable Abu Jinapo was nominated on the 9th of January and approved after vetting on the 21st. Oh, sorry, John Jinapo. Nomination was on the 9th of January, and after vetting, the approval, he was approved on the 21st of January. So on the 8th of January, 2025, an amount of 2.3 million Ghana cedi was made or paid. So who authorized that payment?
Respectfully, Honorable Chair, this payment was done before on the 8th. Check was issued before on the 8th. But the on 8th is as when the check or the payment hit the bank accounts. And this date is the bank account date. But the payment in respect of the check was issued before on the 8th, Honorable Chair.
You want to suggest that all of them had the approval for payment to be made before January or before 6th of January?
That is Honorable Chair. Okay. And Honorable Chair, the records are there so far as the BTAs and the PVs and is concerned, Honorable Chair.
Okay, let me finish. My brother has sat down for a long time, so we'll let you go soon. Let's move to page 24. Page 24. You entered into a contract agreement with 2 suppliers. The finance director, this question is coming to you directly, please. You signed 2 contracts with 2 different entities, Mostec and Luton Engineering Limited, to the tune of 523.4 million Ghana cedis for both of them. In the case of Mostec Engineering, it was 361 million Ghana cedis, and that of the Luton Engineering, 161 million Ghana cedis. The auditors reported that when they asked you for some key documentation, you failed to respond to that, or you failed to give them that document. In other words, you couldn't produce or provide those documents. In detail, let me get the details for you. In the case of Mostec Engineering, commencement certificate was not there. Approval from Parliament was not there. I'm assuming that's budget. Well, I don't know what mean by approval from Parliament. So, but in the case of Luton Engineering Limited,
respectfully, the whip from the majority side says their members are needed in the chamber, even though we are also doing our national duty. So respectfully, without an available ranking, we cannot continue. So on this note, we'll have to bring our proceedings to an end to accommodate the requests of the majority, even though they submitted this report in Parliament. And Mr. Speaker directed that the Public Accounts Committee sit on this report and in 3 weeks come up with our findings. And so respectfully, we will have to bring proceedings to an end to enable the majority in Parliament go with their members to the chamber, even though this is also a national assignment that we have been mandated to do as members of the Public Accounts Committee. So on this note, we'd like to bring our proceedings to an end. He walked in, he's standing out there and whipping members. Once the ranking leaves and there's no available ranking, this meeting cannot continue. You know, we abide by rules and laws. So sorry. Thank you. So respectfully, we'll have to continue tomorrow, God willing.